We continue our courtroom coverage in the murder trial of Donthe Lucas. He's the Pueblo man accused of killing his pregnant ex-girlfriend Kelsie Schelling 8 years ago. Her body was never found. Our Colette Bordelon has heard several variations of the story Lucas told law enforcement in the days after Kelsie's February disappearance. And Colette, you heard some key inconsistencies in the courtroom today.
That's right. We heard from one of the Pueblo police officers who helped Schelling's family do a welfare check at Lucas's mom's home in the days after her disappearance. But the timeline that Lucas gave her just isn't the exact same as the one he gave the Denver detective who originally took on this case when it was a missing persons. Now, the Pueblo police officer talked to Lucas on February 11th. He told her after Schelling got in very early on the morning of February 5th that she slept in her car, until he, for some reason, went outside at 7 a.m. to confront her about the pregnancy. He tells the officer he wanted to take Schelling to a doctor. Apparently, she insisted on going to Parkview. When there, Lucas says they both went into the waiting room, but he told the Denver detective Schelling went in alone. Parkview representatives did testify today and say there's no records of Schelling having an appointment that day. Regardless, in both accounts, Schelling allegedly tells Lucas she's not pregnant. He also gives them different ideas as to where she could be. He tells the Pueblo officer he thinks she went back to work. She assumes that means Denver. But he tells the Denver detective she could have headed back to California to work at her old tanning salon job and be with her ex-boyfriend. Now, in both of these timelines, Lucas says the last time he heard from Schelling was during a phone call where Schelling allegedly called from a private number. But when the Pueblo police officer asked to see a record of that call on Lucas's phone that day, he told her he regularly clears out his messages and calls at the end of every day. Now, there was one last witness on the stand. Hear what she has to say coming up at 6. Always watching out for you, Pueblo. Colette Bordelon, News 5.